So that brings me to where I wanted to pick up and leave off from Tuesday, which is we were trying to introduce client-side debouncing. So a piece of advice I think I got from Icarus was we could potentially use system.reactive to go ahead and use the throttle command, I think, to do some client-side debouncing of events. That way, when we're drawing all these circles, we can go ahead and group them together into little batches. No, not you. Maybe it was Nelson Jimenez who said that. Don't quite recall. But that's something I'd like to try to go ahead and do tonight, to implement a little bit of client-side debouncing. That way, we're not hitting our TCP connection over SignalR quite as hard. So I want to go ahead and start with that. Other reason why I'm excited to do that is I personally have done very little work with reactive extensions before. So I'm going to go ahead and check out. Let's see. Looks like I cloned it in this folder. Drawtogether.net. We'll go ahead and get our dev branch out. Let's see. Beverage. One other thing I had a chance to work on, by the way, with this Akka.net pull request over here that I really enjoyed, is it was my first time working with BUnit, which is a library that allows you to go ahead and do like component integration testing in Blazor. I found that very easy to use, played very nicely with our Akka.net test kit. And with, well, actually, I guess I didn't technically use the test kit, but played very nicely with our actors and played nicely with XUnit. So I appreciated that. We'll probably be adding some of that to drawtogether.net, probably at a future point in time. Probably aren't going to do that tonight. So let's go ahead and fire up, let's see, draw together. While it's loading, we'll go ahead and do reactive. We'll go ahead and call this client debounce. And I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of Googling off to the side here. Observable throttle. Okay. This looks like what we want. So I'll let draw together go ahead and complete its load. And I think this is what we're looking for. So system.reactive.link. So I assume I need to go ahead and install that it's not available in a local namespace. Let me just double check. Like I said, I have not really worked with RX very much, but you know what? Why not? We should go ahead and take advantage of it. Okay. Let's go ahead and install this inside our application here. So we want to go to our UI.client. Now, who's familiar? Well, who needs a refresher on what debouncing is? I think we just described it a little bit on Tuesday night, but just in case you're not familiar with it, when I'm drawing a brushstroke on screen right now, where I'm, going and basically creating hundreds of little circles all at once. All right, cool, perfect. Got a bunch of people in the chat. Hey, H3, how are you doing? Debouncing is basically a technique where if I go and produce, let's say, 100 circles all in the span of a second, because that's basically how frequently the mouse down event fires on the client, I don't necessarily want to have 100 round trips to the server. Maybe I want to have only 5. So what debouncing allows you to do is basically kind of accumulate events over a window of time. You can do things like batch them together, denormalize them, group them, eliminate duplicates, all that sort of thing. And then you transmit that to the server. It's designed to go ahead and make sure a very noisy producer doesn't overwhelm the slower consumer downstream. So debouncing is commonly used in UI systems, which is where we're going to use it. But you also see it, and let's say, for instance, really busy networking systems as well. We've got some customers in the travel industry where the way the travel industry works, imagine you're booking things like vacation packages where you have a flight, hotel, rental car, all that sort of thing. In that industry, you basically have some, let's say, first-party providers you might integrate with directly, such as well, I don't know, big hotel chain, or maybe a really large airline. You might interface with them directly. But there's also, in particular for hotels, there's a lot of aggregators. These are companies that basically specialize in sharing inventory data on which rooms are available. In travel, every single rental car, hotel room, and seat aboard an airplane is considered to be highly perishable inventory. Kind of like how fresh produce from the grocery store might be. So that has to be pushed out to all the people who might be interested in booking that room or that flight very quickly. So if you're subscribed, let's say you're a big, let's say, vacation booking website, and you're subscribed to several different aggregators for hotels, you might receive a ton of events for the same room being booked for the same date all at once from all those aggregators. So you might want to use debouncing in a context like that to go ahead and filter out those events that your system's already seen before. So rather than getting 30 notifications about that hotel room being booked, you can filter it down to just one. So that's another example, let's say network side debouncing. But client side debouncing is probably more common. So our little code sample here using reactive UI is, well, this is help. Oh my God, is this Visual Basic? What is this? I think this might be Visual Basic. Man, I feel old. Okay. Dims are nice. Yeah, they are. Man, this takes me back. I first learned .NET using VB.NET, but that's just, you don't see it anymore. It's kind of like Sanskrit for for .NET developers. Let's see. Okay, endless barrage of emails to observables, scheduler.redpool. Well, endless barrage of emails, it's not enumerable. Well, let's go ahead and take a look. So what I would really like to do is if I go to our, I think it's paint.razor. It's where we do all the fun stuff here. So right now, for every single mouse down event, we create a brand new stroke data structure and we send that over SignalR. What we would like to go ahead and do is accumulate these using an iObservable and then send them on their way. So what I might go ahead and do here is, I think in order for me to do this, all right, so bear in mind, totally new to RX, iObservable. Now T, we'll go ahead and call this stroke data. Stroke data. All right, and now when I get down to here, we'll go ahead and say, all right, once our hub connection's up and running, iObservable equals new anonymous observable. Well, I'm gonna have to Google some really basic stuff. Let's see, how to create iObservable. One of the things I kind of like about this series is it's not just me slinging code on stuff that I already know how to do. We're gonna go ahead. Okay, I need to create a subject, I guess is what I need. Okay. Is that right? I guess, okay. So let me go ahead and give that a try. One of the things I appreciate about the stream is I'm learning stuff in real time, rather than just kind of doing things I already know how to do. All right, let's go ahead and give this a try. Where is my observer? Subject. Okay, that looks right. Data. Row subject. Right. And if I go ahead and do, well, let's make this public. Ropes. Well, we'll call this outbound strokes. And this will go ahead and be, oh, what's the best way to do this? I guess just to go ahead and return my stroke subject. That's right. Okay. So if I go ahead and create my new stroke, rather than sending it all at once, I can go to stroke subject dot on next. Yeah, that looks good. I can go ahead and push my stroke here. All right, that looks good. Now, what else do I need to do? There's no... Okay, that was just Visual Studio freaking out. Could it be observables from event? The observable from event pattern. I am not familiar with that. Observable from event. All right, Chris, let's check this out. All right. We're no longer updating this content regularly. Well, this is all open source now. Observable from event. Man, there's a lot of BB in here. Let's go ahead and see if we can find a newer one. From event. All right. Codes to observable. Event.key up. Get the last 10 keys. Let's see. Key was pressed. Get the last 10 keys. Select many. Do. Subscribe. Dispose your subscriptions. Don't use the event handlers ever. Use the generated observable from event pattern versions. Remember to dispose your subscriptions. Okay. This events.key up. Well, I figure one thing I can do if I go down here. Bear in mind, I'm still kind of thinking about this from the point of view of, let's see, outbound strokes, subscribe. My on next here, I can go ahead and do this. Send async. Observer stroke data. How would I go and batch these together? Let's see. Reactive extensions, bat. This is what I want to see. This is very similar to what I was trying to do in Akka Streams, which is basically, I think I picked the wrong article here. Basically, I want to be able to go ahead and batch by time or by, let's see. Process events and batches plus add delay in between. Okay. Tick.observable.interval time span of 5 seconds. Okay. Nah, that's crazy. We don't need to do that. Let's give this a shot. All right. Events.asObservable. All right, so let me go ahead and clean this up, though. Let's see. We have our subject. Yeah, right, set. I'm assuming our observable is a little bit more complicated than it looks. And in fact, one of the things I'm going to assume here is that we can actually go ahead and produce an array of these. All right, let's go ahead and give this a shot. So, we'll take our stroke data buffer and we'll go ahead and buffer. Let's see. I can specify a time span, I think. 50. Here we go. Yeah, I can go ahead and do. All right. Let's do time span 20 milliseconds or 20 events. And then we can go ahead. What's the output of this buffer stage here? It's an iList. Okay. We can go ahead and do subscribe. And let me go ahead. And is there a way to go ahead and do, let's see, C# iObservable async. Let's see. Async await server. This is what I like to see. Okay. If I go down here, I want to be able to go ahead and do select. Doesn't work. All right, let's go ahead and do this. Void on next. I guess we can just make this fire and forget. That'd be one way of doing it. Let's see. Oh boy. I'm forgetting what the syntax of my method was here. Oh, this is what source control is for, right? Ah. Icarus, thank you. Let's take a look at your code sample. Debouncing and throttling dispatcher events. This looks like right up my alley. The support for a throttle function reactive extensions. Throttle. Right. Creating a debounce dispatcher. So I'm assuming this is for a... Okay, so he's using this in Markdown Monsters. This is like WPF sort of stuff there. All right. Well, I think my buffer call should be able to accomplish this too, if I'm not mistaken. I think that should work. Thing I needed to remember how to do is I needed to remember that. That's what I needed. Okay. Go ahead and add that. I'll go ahead and just do... All right. Let's go ahead and give that a shot and see what happens here. So if I go down to my mouse over event, we're going to go ahead and call on next. All right. Let's give this a try. What did I forget to do? And I guess really, this should be my, I guess what's it called? Let's see, outbound strokes equals this. All right, you know what? I'll go ahead and change this. This will be an iDisposable because this represents a subscription. I'll go ahead and make that private. And I'll destroy that. Let's see, do we implement iDisposable? No, we don't, but we should. Yep. Generate a dispose pattern. Okay, well, looks like I got let down by ReSharper there. Let's go ahead and call. Okay, fine. Go ahead and do that, and then we'll go ahead and call dispose on those. All right, that should work. Let's give this a try. There are build errors. Okay. Give this a try. Okay, this rye whiskey is fantastic. I'm enjoying myself. All right. Hey, launch new session. Okay, well, looks to me like everything's working. And it looks to me like this is actually working a lot better than last time. So just to go ahead and double check that, let's take a look at our actor. And let's see how many strokes are being added all at once. So, boop. Okay, how many strokes were added there? Looks like just one. Just one. Just one. All right. Well, we still have some work to do then. Because it looks like the number of strokes we're getting is still one. Yeah. All right. Well, let me go ahead and turn that off. Because it looks like we got a little bit more work to do. Okay. All right, Icarus, I apologize. We needed to use the throttle method. You were correct. All right. Let's go ahead and give that a try. Let's see. Let me go ahead and give this a shot. Throttle. All right, so I go ahead and give that a try. But isn't that because you were debugging and waiting more than 20 milliseconds each continue? That is also possible. All right. Fair point. Let's give this a shot. One thing I can do to go ahead and get some better data here. Log info. So I can go ahead and use a little bit of Akka.NET logging here. All right. Yeah, let's give that a shot. Good idea, Phyllis. All right. Okay. Now let's take a look at output. Well, that's a bummer. I'm not seeing the data I need. Let's try the command line. CD. Let's go ahead and see if we get our logging in the console down here with standard out. It's building. I'm not seeing a huge amount of stuff from Akka.NET at the moment. Let's see, actually, what URL am I on? I had to go to localhost 5000. Okay, so my port's different. Let's give that a shot. Let's try 5001. Okay. Now let's take a look at what our logs say. Added 0 strokes. Okay, well that's a bit of a problem. So we're getting a ton of events that have no strokes on them at all. Yeah, look at that go. Wow. So you know what I probably need to do here? We'd add a filter. Let's go ahead and turn that off real quick. Alright, so we know we got a problem there. I should probably add like a wear filter or something. If I go to paint our razor. Let's see. I didn't realize that thing would emit data even if it was empty. Do that. That'll give us a little bit of filtering. Alright. Try running that again. A single Akka.NET actor can handle like millions of messages per second, so we're not going to break a sweat doing any of that stuff. Alright. So it looks like we're still capturing some events. 1, 2, 2, 2. So we're getting more than we used to. So that's good. That's still an improvement, but we're not capturing as many client-side events as we would like. Let's go ahead and shut this down. Gotta add a bigger time frame. Yeah, I agree. 20 milliseconds is probably too short. Let's go ahead and give it 100, maybe. See what we can do with that. Now, it's a bit of a trade-off between, let's say, lag and 3 seconds. I see. So you're basically saying we should go ahead and optimize for trying to go ahead and batch as many of these events together as possible. Yeah, we're still in the 1 to 2 stroke size ballpark. We're sure that we can see that it's working. All right. Yep, good point. Yeah, I'm with you. All right, let's go ahead and give this a shot. All right. Okay, there we go. Got the console running. Let's go ahead and reload. New. Oh, derp. Yeah, you're right. We weren't running from the console. So we can see that latency showing up there. And look, we are adding, in fact, 20 strokes. Not quite as fast as it used to be. So, so you're right, Icarus, that this is working. So the longer timeout definitely proved it, but at the cost of probably a little bit too much latency. It's just not quite real time enough. So let me go ahead and shut this down. All right, if I go ahead and optimize this for, let's say, 250. So 4 times a second. And we're kind of limited by how frequently the mouse down event fires. Ah, darn it, I did not mean to do that. Let me go ahead and shut that down again. All right, let's give this another shot. So I could probably go ahead and Google like how frequently that event fires inside one of these environments. Yeah, so even at 250, this might be just a little bit too short. It kind of looks laggy, doesn't it? Yeah, that's the trouble with some of the stuff. We have a trade-off between latency and how basically hard we hit the network. But you can see we are aggregating quite a few events here. So that's looking all right. Let's go ahead and try trimming this down to, let's say, 75 milliseconds. The mouse down is limited by what else you can do as a single threaded. Yep, I agree. Oh, I did the wrong thing again, darn it. All right, try this. Turn that off. We can also add debouncing to the server pretty easy if we want. That'd be another thing we could do. All right, this is more like it. Now, we're basically debouncing events into groups, so let's say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So even though that may not seem like a huge number, that actually is quite a big benefit to us. Because basically what it means is that instead of, let's say, if we were emitting a linear number of events before, where for every single circle, we had to go ahead and do 1 network round trip to go ahead and support that. Well, now we've cut that down by a factor of, on average, let's go ahead and say, looks like somewhere between 4 and 5 strokes. That actually would put a significant damper on some of our traffic here. So that's pretty nice. We can go ahead and do a lot of that. Looks like that's still a little slow, some of it. Let's see. The other problem that's kind of worth remembering is now that we're not doing async await on each of these events, potentially the things we're drawing can be done out of order. You know, I'm wondering if I take a look at this. I'm wondering if the juice is worth the squeeze here. Looks like the lag is cumulative. Yeah, I agree. I can't figure out if that's rendering, but I don't think it is. Yeah, it looks like it's getting worse the longer we do it. But if I go and refresh the screen, looks like that all got drawn pretty quickly. Let's go ahead and try that again. Now, there was a bit of latency. If I go back to, let's say, I'll go ahead and copy this URL. If I go back to Paint, launch another new session. So it looks to me like that lag probably is coming from the actual render space, not necessarily from the server side. Although, they would need to go ahead and measure that. So I've got that drawing I just did. I've got this one. Yeah, we can see a new drawing session there. Yeah, that looks like it's getting a lot slower. Let me go ahead and try even another one. We'll go ahead and try this without debouncing and see what happens. Looks like this is working okay. See, I'm wondering if there's some overhead in the way that subscription works. Like this buffering event was emitting stuff even when we were sending no traffic at all. So if this is all single threaded, I wonder if that's competing for resources here. So let me go ahead, redrawing all the circles each time it changed so it makes sense. This is how I understand it. All right, I'm on the wrong project. All right, added reactive. Well, we'll just call this RX. Bouncing. Go ahead and move this over here. All right. Publish that. Let's go ahead and compare the latency here. I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. Let's go ahead and compare this to what we've got from Tuesday. Let me fire this up. That is good stuff. All right. Let me go ahead and shut these down. All right, let's go ahead and compare this to the performance here. And yeah, this is starting to slow down. Actually, let me just double check. This is our, yeah, this is our server-side debouncing here. Let's do it. This is the without debouncing. So, Christopher, Blazor is redrawing all the circles each time. That's one of the benefits I also found when you're working with Canvas. You don't need to redraw all the circles. We can give that a shot. I picked SVG just because it was simple. But we can go ahead and look at doing this with Canvas instead. That would be totally fine by me. Let me go ahead and try changing this. Cursor. I'm gonna give that a shot. See, now this looks like it's actually running okay. At least I think it is. Go to 26. And we'll go to DD. Yeah, it looks to me like this is actually running okay. Not nearly as bad as it was with the previous bits. Yeah, that definitely looks like that's running faster. And it does start to slow down, you're right. Well, Christopher, I think you're right that basically that the every single time we go ahead and add one of these shapes, we are basically contributing to having to go ahead and redraw the entire surface. Even though I can't see any flicker or anything like that that indicates it, I believe you. That definitely lines up with, let's say, the type of latency that I'm seeing on the draw here. Yeah, I think that's right. Well, maybe that's something we should go ahead and try, is moving this over to a canvas. So if I take a look at your example you came up with, and I go to, let's say, pages, index.razor right here. You got some of your buttons. You have a div. You all use Canvas right now. This is all SVG, all this stuff. Let's see. But it is SVG with JS interop. Well, I think that's something we're going to have to go ahead and try to performance optimize. So the other thing we can go ahead and try, I wonder if there's a way we can go ahead and send up some snapshots on the client side. Rather than having to go ahead and add all these individual shapes all at once, I wonder if there's a way we can go and compress this down. So we're not necessarily like the way the render works right now is for each one of these client strokes, you're going and adding it. I wonder if there's a more efficient way to do this. That's something that would be worth looking at, I think. Let's see. Observable. Blazor. Let's see. Yeah, what would be a good way of doing that, maybe? Sandbox hopping. Whoops. Yeah, we're definitely sandbox hopping a little bit. Well, I'm going to go ahead and pour myself a little bit more of this delicious rye while I'm at it. Thursday night. It's the new Friday, you know? Gotta enjoy yourself a little bit. All right. Well, one thing I wouldn't mind trying is maybe a little bit of server-side debouncing, although I don't really know how much that'll help. How about a spline draw between points? That is what Christopher suggested right here. So this path data, this is basically overriding an actual SVG element, right, Christopher? That's what you were suggesting? That we basically go ahead and, this is a property I'd override on one of them, right? Okay. Well, that's an idea. We can go ahead and give this a shot. May not be within my personal skill as a graphics programmer to be able to do this, but I'm certainly willing to give it a try. All right, we can go ahead and take a look at, yeah, doing some connected strokes here. Let's go ahead and take a look at our SVG elements that we can go ahead and work. Let's see. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's see, permitted content. All right, Mozilla, tell us what's up. You need to restructure restructure the code. Accumulate all the strokes in SVG and push it instead of the strokes. That's something we could do. So a little bit of server-side rendering potentially, where we go ahead and try to accumulate this all at once. That's one way we could do it. Let's see. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say that might have been useful. Marker, mask, font face, pattern, script. All right, let's go and take a look at shape elements. Circle, ellipse, line, mesh, polygon, polyline. All right, take a look at that. Create a basic line element connecting 2 points. Okay. So what if we did it this way? What if we went ahead and we used I observed this reactive extensions to go ahead and create lines rather than circles, where every single time we debounce, we go ahead and draw a line between those 2 points. What if we did that instead? How much would that help potentially from a latency perspective? That's one way we can do it. Let's take a look at the polyline. Let's see. Polyline points. That's another way we can potentially do it. So how do the points actually go ahead and get defined here? Connecting several points together. Creates open shapes. The last point doesn't have to be connected necessarily. Well, let's see if we can get that done. Yeah, you know what I might do? All right, let's give this a shot. Yeah, if I go ahead and do, all right. Check out the polygon. The most expressive SVG element is the path. Okay, let's take a look at that. Before we get too excited here. Path. Oh boy. Well, if you're just kind of drawing things around with the cursor, do you want to go ahead and use polylines, or do you want to use, basically try to go ahead and create graphs like that? Trying to think. Let's give it a little shot with polylines. See how that goes. I'm keen to try it. So in terms of the actual polyline coordinates here, with the default fill. All right, what are the actual points? A list of points, pairs of x, y absolute coordinates required to draw the polyline. Aha, I see. And then we can go ahead and set the stroke color for all this stuff. All right. Let's give that a little try. So let me go ahead and change struct data. Let's see. Fill none, stroke black. Is there another attribute I need to go ahead and add to specify thickness? Stroke opacity, stroke line cap. Stroke is a CSS property. Wow, that's pretty cool. Stroke width, thank you. That's what I'm looking for. All right, so here's what we'll go ahead and do. For stroke data, we'll do color. And we'll go ahead and do public. X. All these points. All right, and what we'll go ahead and do for each one of these client strokes. Do I need to add a new element here? Let's look. Circle. Cursor picker. All right. Well, what if I just said down here, call this polyline. And then we'll go ahead and say points equals C. Oh, goodness. Points. And this is looking for, does want a string representation of this? I assume it does. Let's see, we'll go ahead and do select. This is gross, but we'll do it anyway. Alright. This makes me feel dirty, like formatting this into a string. Knowing it's probably going to be parsed back into a double later. Oh well. Width. Oh, we already have it. Well, isn't that nice? Stroke width equals plus. And then for color, can I go ahead and just use, let's see, line stroke equals. Okay. That's what we'll do. Go to stroke equals E. And then cursor ID. Well, I guess I don't need this. Get rid of it. One less element. All right. And so what we'll go ahead and do, you need to join the points to a string. All right, so we'll go ahead and do this. Ugly, ugly, ugly. We'll go ahead and do that. And we'll do space. Cannot convert systems declarations not enumerable to char. Oh, the separator goes first. That's my fault. Okay. Let me fix that. Alright, that looks good. Swell. Next, you know what I need? I need my debouncer. I just wrote. Let's go back here. Alright, let me go ahead and add this. I'll go ahead and merge it. Why not? Well, circles, your polylines. Right. Go ahead and move this real fast. I did not anticipate we would go ahead and work on I think I did not anticipate we would be working on UI optimization, but there we are. Move this all together. This is actually a fun type of UI problem, to be honest. Hey, it's okay, Christopher. All good with me. All right. You're in Denmark, right? It must be super late over there. Oh, whoops. You know what I forgot to do? All right, there we go. Now we're rebased on top of dev. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So here's something we can do. 75 milliseconds. And what we can go ahead and do is at the very end down here, I can go ahead and grab this. Let's see. On net. What we should do instead is, rather than create a new stroke data each time, this might be a terrible idea, but I'll give it a try. Where do we define stroke data? Oh, here. All right. You know what we're going to go ahead and do is my subject. Let me find it. Yep, we're gonna do this. We go all value tuple on all this. All right. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and do time. We'll get rid of that. Now we'll go ahead and just decide the color as it comes out down in the on next method down here. So we'll go ahead and do, let me find it. On next, here we go. All right, so when every time this gets called, stroke data, color equals cursor size. This is technically potentially exposing us to some race conditions, but I think the likelihood of a user being able to rub their tummy and touch their head at the same time is probably pretty low, so I'm not super worried about it. All right, points equals object array. All right. And we'll go ahead and do. All right. Let's see if this helps in the slightest. I have a feeling this will be a disaster, but let's give it a try anyway. For science, right? Okay. Well, I thought the program was launching. Now, there we go. All right. Well, I'm not seeing anything. So let's see what happened here. Polyline. I'm gonna go ahead and set a little breakpoints inside my actor maybe. All right. Woof, here we go. All right, got a piece of stroke data with how many points? Uh-oh. It's all 0, 0, 0. So we've definitely got something wrong. Cursor size. Okay. So we're definitely grabbing a whole bunch of points, but they're just not coming out correctly. Go ahead and take down. What did I do wrong in here? CX and CY. On next. Huh. Wonder what I did wrong there. I'm gonna take a look at dev real fast. What could be going on? Pages. Paint. If I go down to CX and CY are mutable properties. That's what's going on. Okay. Derp, derp, derp. I thought they were local. Okay. Well, that was completely my fault. Always is. Let's give this another shot. All right. Whoops. Take a look at our strokes. That still does not look good. Are there any stroke values that aren't 0? Oh boy. I'd be better off picking random numbers at this point. All right, well I can see that my circle value is something not as very much not 0. If e.buttons equals 1. Okay. What did I do wrong here? E to offset X. E to offset Y. That looks right to me. Worked fine when I did it this way. Okay. Yeah, Chris, I agree with you. That's something that we need to do, is we need to have the ability to do snapshotting. I'm a big fan of event sourcing. That's basically how this drawing works right now, is through basically replaying all the events. But one major limitation we have is we don't have the ability to compress things into a snapshot. The obvious, like, so let's say, candidate for a snapshot here is a bitmap. Compressing all those strokes into, let's say, a PNG or some other type of vector graphic. Okay. This is making me mad. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and comment that out. Let's see what's going on here. All right. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that would be a good idea. I wanted to go ahead and look at using something like Image Magic to go ahead and do some exports into PNG format, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. Oh boy, I'll have to check that out. SVG net. All right, so I can see the points being written. How are they all being turned into zeros? Let's see. Yeah, how are those being destroyed? All right, I'll tell you what. Let's give this a shot. Hey, Rook, how are you, man? Good to see you. We're in the process of trying to optimize client-side performance. Icarus, let's see what you sent me. SVG circle. Get the center point of the circle. Render. SVG.codeplex. Proper SVG strings. So you're talking about basically compressing down basically the entire graphic into what, essentially a big sort of a string representation we can go and render all at once. Is that the idea? Got it. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and pay attention to this library. Okay. Well, you know what? Let me go ahead and grab this. Add image snapshotting. Yeah, SVG. Let's see. I'm not going to write that. But this is what we should be trying to do. All right. I'll go ahead and include that. Uh-oh. I did not mean to start up Slack by accident. Whoops. Okay. I hate that I have to do this, but I don't know why my value tuples are getting nuked. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new dedicated data structure. There's something going wrong when that thing goes on its way to the server, and I'm assuming it's a serialization problem is what's causing that. Because all the other data looks fine on the way out. Let's see. That should be okay. Yeah, that's fine. I gotta change that again. point. But yeah, I'm assuming this is a serialization issue that's causing this, which is why I had to create my own strongly typed data structure. Whoops. This is all being done with structs, so the performance overhead from a garbage collection perspective should be pretty much negligible. So new features / stencils, new graphic models, SVG, push to client, which will not change much unless likely depends on what we draw. Oh, look at that. Hallelujah. We've got dotted lines now. All right, let's go ahead and try blowing this up. Okay, well, this does not appear to have improved anything, but it is pretty cool. Jeez. Oh. Man, is that ugly or what? Wow. I think in a way, this is actually even harder on the rendering system than what we were doing before. Does anyone else get that impression? Let's go ahead and try opening up another drawing. 14. All right. You tried to hack something together with a smooth line. Oh, how'd you... Man, is that's using the paint together code? Here, let me pull that up. That looks pretty good. Hey, if you wanted to submit a pull request with that, I would 100% accept it. That looks great to me. Oh. Yeah, that looks pretty fantastic. I dig it. Yeah, Christopher, I would definitely accept a pull request for that. That looks fantastic. And Icarus, I agree with you. We need to add some snapshotting behind the scenes to make it faster to load this stuff. Let's see. Yeah, I think it'll fit nice with those changes too. I think the debouncing is a good idea. Let's see. Actually, I am going to open up Slack again real fast. I'm going to cheat here. Because I had a set of things I actually wanted to try to work on, and we've only got about 35 minutes left. So I need to go ahead and pull that up. Let's see. Although I've really enjoyed working on all this while we're at it. Let's see. I think this was it. All right. We're going to work on client-side singularity bouncing using iObservable. Did that. Adding a second channel to track user activity and cursor movement. Okay, this is something I wanted to do, which is being able to go ahead and highlight where someone's cursor is on screen. So, let's go ahead and do that. It's a little bit more of an Akka.net thing. All right. So, I'm going to go ahead and commit this. Oops. That was all client work. All right. I'll go ahead and stick this into a draft pull request, and anyone else can grab a hold of that source if we want. All the source code for Draw Together is Apache 2. So if any of you want to go ahead and play with it or even use it in your own programs, you should feel totally free to do that. It's a permissive open source license. Follow lead lines. All right. Go ahead and do that. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to go ahead and add. So we're going to add a second channel. So the second channel, purpose of this is to show where people's cursor positions are. So one thing I'm going to go ahead and do is add a new set of actors. So let's see. Let me go ahead and grab. Yeah, we'll do this. We'll go ahead and do a user instance actor. Gives a user a randomly assigned name, and associates that with their session on draw together. So we're basically going to make like a little bit of a session state tracker using actors behind the scenes. That's part of the goal here. Now, in terms of the information I get from the Draw Hub, let's see, I get the connection ID. What else do I get from the context here? Connection ID, user identifier. All right. How do I set that value? SignalR, hub, user identifier. That's what I want to know how to do. Since I've done this level of work with SignalR, it's been a little while. Let's pull that up. Okay, well, that's not super exciting. A single user in SignalR can have multiple connections to the app. For example, user can be connected on their desktop as well as their phone, yada yada. By default, SignalR uses the claim types.name identifier from claims principal associated with the connection as the user identifier. To customize this behavior, see using claims to customize identity handling. All right. This is cool. You can send a message to a specific user. I dig that. I need a iUser ID provider. So in order for me to go ahead and implement an iUser ID provider, I first need to go ahead and associate a connection with that user. Okay. An app that authenticates users can derive SignalR user IDs from user claims. All right, well, we're not going to do authorization because that's boring. But we will go ahead and come up with a way to randomly name users. So I'm going to go ahead and create in my little, let's see, middleware here. Actually, I'll go ahead and do this on the server. I'm going to go ahead and add a new folder, users, and I'm going to go ahead and add a new item. We're going to go ahead and call this user naming service. We're not going to bother doing an interface. Maybe enter a name field like in chat. What I want to do in the short run is I want to go ahead and do like what they do in Docker, where we go ahead and create like a anthropomorphic name for basically like sort of arbitrary instances randomly. But yes, hey Chris, you're right. I do want to eventually make it so people actually have to log in and have a real username and everything else. It's just that you can go anywhere on YouTube and see 1,000 videos for people, you know, wiring up Azure Active Directory or Identity Server into a .NET application. I'd rather go ahead and focus on fun stuff like dealing with shader issues or building a SignalR backplane and that type of thing. I do want to eventually do that, but I've got to find a way to make it fun and creative on the stream so people don't fall asleep. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see. I guess I'll go ahead and do a public string, generate random name. Now, one thing I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to go ahead and do public static read-only string. Oh my goodness, I did not mean that. And we're going to go ahead and create an array of random names here that we can go, actually, let me go ahead and do this. We're going to go ahead and create an array of random names. So I'm going to go ahead and do Icarus. We'll go ahead and do one for H3. We'll do one for IMJ. We'll go ahead and do another one for Rook. And let me go ahead and grab one, of course, for Christopher. And I'll do one for me. And I'll go ahead and throw some other ones in here. Farmageddon. I just made that up. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. You guys getting some name recognition. Farmageddon. We'll go ahead and call, and we'll have another one called Inflation. Let's see. What should we go ahead and do? We'll do Oracle. Do Apple. And Dolan. Then we'll go ahead and do bring seed names to. So what we're going to go ahead and do is everyone's going to get, we're going to go ahead and randomly name each user with one of these seed names. So we'll go ahead and do down here, seed names 2. I'm just naming types of bourbon now. Oh, that Ardbeg's technically Scotch. Enumerable range 1 through 100. We could definitely do that, Icarus. But isn't this more fun? Selecting a random value in here. Happy Weller. Trash can. I'm just making stuff up. Let's see. Oh. Go ahead and do foo. Bar. Boober. And then, well, I don't know. We'll go ahead and do one. .NET drama. Bullet. Okay, we'll do bullet. All right. Any more requests? I'll take them. I think nope. This is one of those E before T ones, I think. All right. Got that going. So go ahead and generate a random name. Let's see. I gotta remember the algorithm for doing this. Selecting a random item from the list. I actually have a piece of code that does do this. Okay, that I should have known how to do that. All right. So here's what we'll do. Generate random name. R1 equals, and we'll go ahead and do thread local random from akka.net current next something between 0 and seed names 1 length -1, and we'll go ahead and do for this one R2 let's go ahead and give this a shot. That was good. R3. Go ahead and do that. R1. There we go. We now have a random name. Normally use the faker.net package, but this is much more fun. I agree. I actually wrote a faker C# library like years ago that I use that does all this stuff. All right, well, let's go ahead and make this a static method. No need for dependency injection here. All right, that was good. Okay, so I'll go down into our SignalR hub. Let's check this out. No. Okay, perfect. All right, let me go ahead and override. First time user connects. Oh, let me go ahead and return the base method here. Context.user identifier. If it's not been set, equals user naming service, generate random name. All right. The user identifier has no setter. What? By default, SignalR uses claim types dot claim types dot name identifier from claims principal. Yeah. Okay, so how do I do this? User manager. Add claim. Okay. All right. Fine. We'll have it your way, SignalR. Let's see. Get user ID. Connection. And then let's see. The way they did it here. Connection.user, bind first. Claim types.email.value. Well, that's boring. So here's what I'm going to do. That should cover my bases. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and say if else equals, let's see, user naming service, generate random name. All right, that looks good. And then I think I need to add this to DI somewhere. Yes, just like that. Okay, services, I user ID provider, name, service. Okay. Let's see what happens. I want to go ahead and see what sort of names our system can produce. And I guess I can go back to my SignalR hub. Let's see. Here we go. Don't need this. For join session, I probably need to go ahead and add the user's name. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, we are. What's up, Pin1 Cow? We're doing some blazoring. All right. Where'd my breakpoint go? What the hell, man? Yeah, let me go ahead and grab my random name service here. All right. There we go. Let's see what we've got. Our name is Inflation Pappy 7013. All right. That sounds like a type of, I don't know, circus performer or something. But whatever, that's cool with me. Uh-oh. Stan Trash Can 5281. All right, this is pretty fun. Now, unfortunately, this isn't very persistent. So I need to come up with some better way of doing this. The connection ID is not quite a strong enough correlator. Let's go ahead and do connection user. I don't know. You know what? Show it on the UI. Oh, definitely. We're definitely going to do this. Dude, I want to name like Stan the Trash Can 441. That's awesome. That's a better screen name than like anything I've ever come up with on my own. Like, that's great. Okay. Let me see here. What was the identity feature they wanted me to use? I don't care about tokens. Let's go back. Claim types name identifier. All right. Claims identity. Yeah, this will be good enough for now. All right. Yes, I agree with you. Let's go ahead and show this on the UI, Chris. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and take our delightful little name here. I'm going to go ahead and add this to one of our messages. Let's see. Where is our... Looking for my join session message. That should be in the shared project. Here we go. We got our connection ID. Go ahead and update this. All right, we got a user ID now too. Now, one of the things I want to go ahead and add to my hub. Let's go and paint. Here's one thing I'm going to do. This is the dumbest thing ever, but I love it. All right. This is seriously the dumbest thing ever, but I'm going to do it. All right. Some of the code in Akka.NET is copyrighted by Lightbend. Why? It's because Akka.NET's a port of the original Akka framework, and we added those copyright headers to the Akka.NET project. Even though like it's all original code, largely written by members of the Akka.NET team, it is derived from their original work in the Akka project. So we did that in order to stay in compliance to the Apache 2 license. Arguably, a lot of that code that has their copyright header on it, we could get rid of that, to be honest, because they didn't... Like, there's a bunch of stuff that's idiomatic.net that they never had any hand in, but we use a standard template for copywriting all that stuff. So it's honestly one of those things that's like the equivalent of compiler ceremony, but for lawyers. That's basically what that's for. So it's not really... doesn't really impact anything. Let's see. Does that help answer your question? Let's see. All right, we'll go ahead and do this. All right, no worries, man. Happy to answer any and all questions about that sort of stuff. All right, so one thing we're gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna add another event on the client here. Let's see. The event that gets invoked here is draw strokes. We're actually going and adding strokes here. Let's go ahead and do a void add user event. Bring username. And I'll go ahead and do users. Username. We'll go ahead and do status changed. I'll also go ahead and do remove user. And we'll go ahead and do user.remove user. We'll go ahead and add that as well. All right. Now, if I go back to my session actor, let's see if I can find find it again. It's on my server here. Page is active. Here we go. All right, one thing we'll go ahead and do. These are our users. Every single time we get a join session, I'm gonna go ahead. Users equals. Let's see. You know what? I need to go to my hub handler, which should be. So I'm basically just adding all the components for going and adding the users to the screen there. Let's see, raw hub. Client group session ID. And then I added the paint eraser add user. Add user. Dot configure await. That should be good. Go ahead and do that. Public async task. Actually, here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and do this. Go ahead and do usernames. Should just be client connection ID. That was good. Go ahead and catch that one user up. All right, that was good. Let me go back to my actor. Let's see. You know what? I should do one more thing. Rather than making my users a list, this is a better practice for this type of thing. We should always make this a hash set. Reason is that in the event that I accidentally push duplicate, this will filter it out. All right. Okay. Yeah, that should work. All right, good. Add user. That's fine to me. Let's go down here. Oh, I gotta add this to the stupid Aaron. Okay. I gotta go ahead and add this to the actual. I added it to the implementation class, but not to the interface that it implements. So I gotta remember to do that. All right. And then I gotta do that down here too. Okay, that looks good. Now I should be able to call users. You always want to make a copy, by the way, when you go ahead and push something over the wire like this. That way it's immutable. Because we're about to actually go and modify that object down here. All right, let's see how this goes. I'm feeling optimistic. Oh no! Spoke too soon. Oh, well, that's not too bad. Let's give this a shot. Oh no, where's my code for all this stuff? Razor, active users. That should totally be getting called. All right, let's see what's going on with that. I must have a bug somewhere in here. Join connection ID. Inflation Ardbeg 5066. Come on, that's gold. All right. Connection ID, add user, Icarus trash can, connection ID. Yeah, that looks like gold to me. Have you made the on receive handler and hub client? I thought I did. Let me go and double check. Oh, you know what? You're absolutely right. I did not do that. Ah, okay. Thank you, Christopher. Appreciate that. All right, you're right. Hub connection on method name. Let's see. That should do it. Okay. Well, that turned out to be simple. Streaming's a lot more fun when you got friends with you. All right. Well, looks like I definitely broke something. Oh, well, that'd be because I have a break point. Set timeout handler too long. Cheeseburger foo. All right. That's more like it. Got some drawings there. If I go ahead and reload, it's cheeseburger foo and Oracle Fuber. Now if I go and reload again, we got Oracle trash can. Cheeseburger Pappy. There you go. I'm not sure how good of a combination that is. Let's see. If I go ahead and reload again there. IMJ Fuber. All right. So I've got to come up with a way to make these names a little bit more persistent, because having a new name get generated every single time I go and open and close the Signal R connection is not really doing it for me. Oracle Weller. For some reason, we really like Oracle quite a bit. All right. Oracle Bar. Usually do an eager check of local storage. H3 Trash Can 8216. All right. We've only got about 5 minutes left of tonight's stream, but I kind of feel like creating some more random names. HimJ Ardbeg 216. All right, let's go ahead and do another one. Farmageddon Weller 916. There you go. All right, let me go ahead and shut this down for just a second. We got to come up with some more random names. I think the random name service might have been the innovation of the night so far. Let me go to our user naming service. We'll have big. Sloppy would be another random name. Angry. Let's see. We'll go ahead and have It's Great. Let's see. We'll do Great down there. Actually, no, we'll call it The Great. Like an epitaph. Let's see. Weller. What else should we come up with here? Let me think. I'll go ahead and do one for Pin. Let's see. Angry. We'll go and do Swede. German. American. All that fun stuff. Canadian. Okay, we can add Dane. We can add Dane. Let's do that. All right, there we go. No one will fault us for having so much fun with the random name generator. We have Apple Bar 3167. Go ahead and blow this up. Go ahead and reload the screen here. American with no apostrophe. We've got Dollar Canadian. Oracle Fuber. Let's go ahead and come up with some more. Christopher Trash Can. 4649. There you go. Dollar Bullet. Let's go ahead and keep reloading some of these. Stan German. H3 Bar 4463. Big Weller 5619. Christopher German. I don't think we're going to get a Christopher Dane anytime soon. Oracle Pappy. Let's go ahead and try reloading this again. Ruck Bullet. Alright, let's go and launch another session. Apple German 5715. Alright, let's go do this. Color. Get a little bit of blue going here. That looks nice. Go ahead and reload this again. Oracle Ardbeg. No Icarus, not so far. We got Big Bullet. There you go. Oracle German. Stan Fuber. All right, we got to get an Icarus. Floppy German 814. Oh. Him J the Great 88518. Icarus.net drama. Well, there you go. At the to end the evening, we managed to go ahead and get one. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and commit that and push that in. That is too much fun. All right. Okay, well, we've got some work to do getting that naming service to actually play nicely. We need to go ahead and have some way of either like H3 suggested using local storage. Or we need to have maybe a way of cooking users. Christopher, I agree. It's the small joys of programming and what make it worthwhile. And that was, seeing Sloppy German showed up there just brought a smile to my face. That was so much fun. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and squash this in. Now, I would love to go ahead and spend some time next week on Tuesday. In the meantime, if Christopher, if anyone else wants to send some pull requests to help improve the client-side rendering performance, that'd be great. Otherwise, the next thing I'm going to work on is more of this multi-user management stuff, like kind of showing the cursors for all these different people on stream, so you can kind of see who's doing what. And then I think I'm going to work on trying to actually get this thing ready to deploy onto Azure at some point. That way, during the live stream, we can actually go ahead and start trying to actually draw stuff on it, which would make it a lot of fun. So that's all I've got for tonight. I had a lot of fun. I hope you all did too. And thank you very much for joining me. And we'll see you again, same time next Tuesday. So I hope you all have a great evening. and enjoy the start of your Friday coming up very soon here. Thank you very much.